This video tutorial is to help you get started with Google Earth Tour Builder so that you can complete the geography assignment for our Modern Latin American History class. You'll notice that we're starting off with the assignment instructions. You can access these, of course, through the syllabus or via the course in Blackboard. I'm not going to go over the specifics of the assignment in this video because I want to focus instead on how you actually use the tool to complete the assignment. So from here, scroll down a little bit to this link where it says Google Tour Builder. Click there, and in a new tab, you will be taken to the Google Earth Tour Builder. You can also just type Google Tour Builder into Google itself, or you could type in the URL that you see here to go directly there rather than going through the assignment. You will need to create a Google account if you don't already have one, or you just sign in with your existing Google account. I'm going to do that with mine. I remembered my password, which is a good sign. All right, so now you can see that I have signed in to my Google account, and I can use these buttons here to navigate Tour Builder. I'm going to click on My Tours. That's what you'll need to do to create a new tour. I have this one that I've already completed as an example, and I'll come back to that in a few minutes to say a few things about it. But what you'll want to do is just click this button to create a new tour. You'll need to give it a name. I'm being generic, but you can be as specific and creative as you would like to. So let's go ahead then and get things started. So this is the editor of Google Earth Tour Builder. As you know, you'll need to choose at least 15 locations in Latin America for your tour. And once you've identified the locations you want, you can just add them using this blue button here. I've already given my title and my author name. I can find a photo for this tour. A good way to find photos is to go to images.google.com. I'm going to just type in Latin America and see what comes up. And just for the sake of being quick, I'm just going to pick one of the top things that I found here. In order to post an image into Tour Builder, and for some of the other assignments as well that we have this term, you'll need to click on the image that you found. If you found it on a web page, I'm going to open up the web page this is on just to show you it that way. Because you can do this either from a regular web page like this one, or from the Google Images results. You need to make sure you don't just grab the URL that appears up here in the browser bar, but instead you right-click or control-click if you're using a Mac to bring up this menu of options. Then you click Copy Image Address. So I'm going to copy that. Then I'm going to go back over to this tab where we are in our Tour Builder. I'm going to click here to add a photo for my introduction picture. And what this will do is it will give me the option to use photos from my albums that I already have. And it will also give me the option to upload photos from my computer, search for images directly in Tour Builder, which that's a route you can go if you'd like to as well, or add the image by URL. That's what we're doing. So I've already copied that URL the way that I just showed you. So I'm going to Control V or Command V to paste that in, or you could actually just right-click and choose Paste if you want to as well. And you'll notice there's our image. I'm going to click Select. And here it is as the introduction picture for our tour. You don't have to be too specific in the intro to the tour. Just type, this is my tour of key sites in Latin America that are significant to its history. Remember what we're doing here, you're wanting to identify locations that you may know something about, or places that you might not know something about for this tour. So rather than give you a static map quiz where I'm asking you to memorize and identify certain locations in Latin America, you get to choose your own pathway through it. You may know of some places due to your family's history. due to things that you've read about, because you've watched Narcos on Netflix, whatever it might be, you can choose those places to kind of get you started, and from there branch out and see what else is in the region. You should identify places, though, that are significant to the history of Latin America, and we will have already talked about quite a few different sections of Latin America's history by the time you're completing this assignment. And also, we will have already completed our initial discussion about how Latin America is defined as a region. So you'll want to choose places that might help you explain how you defined Latin America. So that's a number of different ways you can go there. You'll notice that this saved automatically here. Sometimes if you're on a slower internet connection, you might want to click the save button that will be there if it's not already saved, just to make sure that your work is not lost. I'm going to go ahead and add a location. So what you can do is you can search for a location, or you can move the map around, zoom in and out, and all that kind of stuff, and just drop a place mark on the map. But again, I know that I want to start with a place called Columbus, New Mexico. Columbus, New Mexico is on the border between New Mexico and Chihuahua. It was a small town that Pancho Villa raided in 1916 during the Mexican Revolution. And it's one of the places that I first began my research that led me into Mexico and Latin America. So that's why some of the reasons that I've chosen it. So I'm just going to click that blue button, add to tour. I can zoom the map in and out, either using these buttons here or by using the trackpad on my computer. If I want to have the zoomed out version of this for people who are viewing the tour, I just click Lock This View over in this section there. You'll notice that there are a lot of ways to customize the tour that I won't go into in detail. I just want to show you kind of the basics about how to get going here. As was the case with the introduction section that we just completed, when you get into each of your locations, you can also add photos and videos in much the same way that I just showed you. You can add a month and a year for this one, because I mentioned that we're talking about Pancho Villa's raid on Columbus. I'm going to add the date that took place. It was March 9th, 1916. You can add a range, or you can just add a single date if you have a certain historical event that you have in mind. If you don't have a specific historical event in mind and you're thinking just more about the geographic significance of the site, you could just leave that blank, not add anything to it. This box here is where you're going to do the bulk of your work. Here is where you will type a few paragraphs about the site, about the location that you've chosen and why. You can also use this button here so you can highlight some of the text, click link, and then, for example, so if I want to find some internet source on the raid on Columbus, I'm going to use this one from the University of Texas at Austin. You just go and copy the URL, so Command or Control C, go back over to the tour, you paste it in this box. I like to open these in a new window, click OK, and you'll notice this is purple now. And so when we click on this, when people who are taking the tour click there, they will be taken to that website that I just found. I do recommend adding at least 1 or 2 websites in each of your descriptions, because that will help everyone, or it will help me as your instructor, but it will help those people taking your tour to know where you drew your information from. Because you will, of course, have to read up on the sites that you've chosen in order to write about them and their significance. So you'll want to let us know where you got that information from. Please, please, please avoid plagiarism at all costs on this assignment, as with all the others in our class. Don't just copy and paste a bunch of information from the internet here, but this is for you to put that into your own words and interpret the information you found about the place so that the rest of us can understand something of it. All right, so if you want, you can customize the icon type. There are some advanced options, but again, that's up to you if you want to do some of those things. To add photos and videos, you just click that box, and as I mentioned, you'll see the same thing pop up. If you have something in your Google Albums or something on your computer that you want to use, you can use those options there. When you're actually in the tour, though, you will need to click this More button and do Image by URL if you want to use the method that I just showed you. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to right-click, copy image address, and then paste it back in our tour. Click Select, and here we have it. This little button here, if you need to delete one, of course, the garbage can will delete that for you. To add more images or videos, you use the plus button. And then if you want to add a caption, you don't have to add a caption to every image, but it's a good idea to do it to at least many of them. So this is Columbus, New Mexico, the town prior to the raid. I've seen this enough to know that's what this is. And then you click Save Now, and this caption will be there for your viewers. So I'm going to hit Close. And of course, we've only partially built out this tour, but this is just showing you again how to use Tour Builder. When you're done with that location, you want to add another. Click here. Say we want to go next to Mexico City. You just click that, do the same thing that we did when we chose Columbus, add it to the tour, and then you will do the same steps to add your information, your photos, and so on. When you're all done with all of this, you click Done Editing, and then you'll notice that you can no longer edit your work. There's nothing here because we didn't type anything, but if we click on Columbus, you'll see the image that we chose. To view it full screen, we'll see the caption that I typed in. Also, if you click the link that I added, it will take you to the site that we found. And you can use these back and next buttons to navigate through the tour. So here's our introduction. And as I mentioned, I'll do that in just a second. I can take you using this button back to my other tours to show you the more complete example that I've already worked on. But if you need to edit again, so you did that, or you only had a few minutes to work on this, you added a few things left and you want to come back, you just click this button and click Edit. And that will get you back into the editor version. So what I'm going to do, and you can click again, Save Now. If you have a slower internet connection, you need to make sure you've saved your work. As I mentioned a minute ago, I'm going to go to My Tours so that I can just quickly show you the tour that I already completed. So this one is called My Journey Through Latin America. It's mostly complete. It's not completely done yet. But you'll notice that the front page shows all of the different locations that you've identified on your tour. If you gave it any different place markers, so this is Lake Atitlan in Guatemala, I put a boat there. This is the Yunque National Forest in Puerto Rico. Those will show in that way. And you can look at this and go through. I hit next. The one on Columbus, again, I started this one also with Columbus, is probably overdone because I've done so much research on it. You'll notice I put 17 images. You don't have to put nearly that many. 3 to 5 is plenty for each site. And that can include videos if you find a good video on YouTube or elsewhere. But I just had so much on Columbus. You'll notice you scroll down. You should write a couple of paragraphs to explain something about the site. If it has personal significance, include that. And then I had a blog post that I wrote after attending the centennial of the Pancho Villa raid. So that's something you could look at. You can either use the back and the next buttons, or you can use this slider over here to jump ahead in the tour. I mentioned Lake Atitlan. At CNM, we're doing a study abroad in May of 2018 to Antigua and the area around. We're going to go to Lake Atitlan. So that's something that I mentioned here. And I gave a couple of links to different websites about the lake and about the site as well. So you can read through that, just get an idea of what we're trying to accomplish with this assignment, what we're doing. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. The link to this example is embedded in the assignment instructions. So back over here, you'll use this one to get to the video tutorial, excuse me, or you will have gotten here via Blackboard. And if you want to see the example, you just click this one. And that's the example I just showed you. So again, any questions, please let me know. I look forward to taking all of your tours of Latin America.